However, I find it interesting to talk about because we do come across people in our everyday lives that have some of these traits. We can't start going around labeling people um, because it's not fair and genuinely it's not on. But it's about just being able to understand to an extent what it is you're dealing with and making the choice of, well, do I want to attempt to be in a relationship with that, or am I just going to walk away
Yeah.
and kind of be safe? And that's literally the only angle that I come from. So I'm not trying to pin any labels on anybody here. Susan Smith has already got that label on her, and that was already given by professionals, and that's why she's incarcerated, etc., etc. So she's just a good example, which is why I brought her up. Um, but on the hair checklist, and I've split it kind of into two main groups, and the first group being, and they all just kind of fit together is superficial charm. So if you watch Susan, if you watch Erika, if you watch Amber, and then you watch your kind of more spiritual gurus like your Teal Swan and your Sadhguru and people like that, they've all got a certain amount of charm about them, which kind of compels
Yeah.
you to watch them in the first place. You can't deny that it's there. Whether they're attractive, whether they come across well, whether they seem to be saying the right things, even if they're not doing the right things, or if they're doing the right things but well, saying the right things. And we'll talk about the mismatch as we go on. But that is definitely there. But that's then along there with a grandiosity of kind of the look at me, I'm good, I know what I'm talking about type stuff. Um, and why you should listen to me, why you should believe me, why you should be taken in by what I'm saying and the way that I'm presenting myself. And then the shallow affect, and this for me has been the most interesting one, I think, certainly for the last few weeks, is the shallow affect. It's that being able to change the emotion on the face in the flick of a switch. It's Amber Heard looking at the audience, making faces, then coming back, looking at the person that's asking her questions, like Johnny Depp's solicitor, her solicitor, whatever else, and her face affects just changes just at the click of your fingers. And Erika Kirk seems to have that same thing when she presented herself 49 hours after Charlie died in his studio, and there were a little bit of eye tapping, leaning off to the chair, then suddenly we're upright and we're fine again, and we're sort of like composed. And like, you're grieving, love. Why are you that composed? That makes absolutely no sense. Um, Go on, David. You're looking to say something there.
I'm just because when you're saying about I can never get past that comment that where somebody went, that just reminded me of a bad porn actress. And it's just because it sums it up in a nutshell that somebody is looking at that thinking, oh, wow, I've seen better porn, better acting in crap porn films.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So where that comes from, guys, is HG Tudor. So if you go across to his channel, he is a narcissistic psychopath that does nothing but talk about narcissistic psychopathy. It's quite an interesting channel. I don't agree necessarily with everything that he says, but I think he lays things out in a very clear way that I think some professionals probably can't be quite as clear on. And whether that's because he's the ultra, as he calls himself, grandiosity, all that kind of stuff. But either way, it's just an interesting channel to check out. So kudos to HG there, and yeah, go and check out his channel.
and his comments
But you'll
section.
never see his face. Be aware of this. You'll never see his face.
Yeah. But it's, yeah, because again, that thing with Amber Heard, where every time she answered, she would look to the jury and then turn back to the lawyer. And
Yeah,
whereas Johnny Depp and all the other witnesses just talk to the lawyer who asked the questions.
yeah, yeah.
And it was always, you could tell the difference being that Amber Heard was always had this massive awareness. I need to convince them. You need to, because she's every time she was asked a question, she replied. It kind of explained herself to the jury,
Mm.
and they're just it wasn't normal. It
No,
wasn't
it was doing too much to be believed.
yeah, but it's this again. There can be a strange um analogy, but I think it was Marlon Brando who, no, not it wasn't Marlon Brando. It was uh Oliver. Who was the alcoholic actor? Something Oliver. Oliver Reed. He was
Mm,
talking about when he was doing acting school or something like that, and they were like going through these scenarios. And the scenario was that somebody breaks into your house and you have a conversation, like you're gonna challenge them, blah blah blah. When it comes to Oliver Reed, when the person pretended to break into the house, he just grabbed her by the scruff of the neck and physically threw him out. And the guy's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing?" And he went, "If you broke into my house, that's what I would do."
mm,
And he was saying, he said, all these people were trying to think of a way to act, a thing to say. And he says, acting is understanding what the character would do in the moment.
mm.
And Amber Heard didn't understand that. It's just
Yes.
like if you're being honest, if you're being sincere, you're just going to be replying to the lawyer,
Yeah.
but you're not doing that. You're overcomplicating. Like I need to to win you guys over. I need to do this. It's premeditated. It's planned. You've come up with a strategy, and there's something about sincerity that you can't fake.
No, no, you can't. And when I watched the Susan Smith video of her doing her parole hearing video, whenever she was trying to convey emotion, she knows it's her weak point. So her eyes were
Yeah,
down and she'd covered her face. And then she'd have this kind of same little grimace as she came up, and then it's back to a flat affect.
there
Back
was
complete.
sorry, there was
Gone.
in one of the films that you showed me. She's talking. I think she's in her own sitting room. She's on the couch. She's talking, and her hand is constantly on her chest, as if she's saying, like, "I swear," like, and you just like that's a very strange place for your hand to stay. Again,
Mm,
it's not like some big bold significant. It's just like that. It's not normal. Why would you? And one of the things that I've talked about this before. One of the most horrible sounds that you'll ever hear is heartache, because where somebody has lost something or someone,
mm,
because they don't cry, they sob. And there's a sound that comes with that sobbing where you know somebody's heart has been broken
mm.
and it's inconsolable. And it's the worst sound you can ever hear. That with like a dog squealing because it's in pain or something, But
Yeah.
it's their body kind of shakes, and there's like it's not it's that sobbing. It's heartfelt because you know that it's the only way you can. Well, it's even difficult to articulate because it's like literally like somebody has shoved their fists into their chest and ripped their
Mm.
heart out.